Hello, welcome to another episode of Tales of Gaming, and today I'm going to share some stories about my first ever video game, Mario Kart 64. Now, when you're a gamer, one of the most important things is your first ever video game. I mean, it's that thing that created that passion and desire that you now have. And I generally find with a lot of people that their first video game is still often one of their favorites. And as I previously mentioned, for me, it is the classic, though unfortunately slightly outdated, Mario Kart 64. So to start with some context, so both of my parents were gamers long before I was born. They also had the original Super Mario Kart for the Super Nintendo that they would play together all the time. So when the Nintendo 64 came out and Mario Kart 64 was announced, they knew they had to get it. While it was technically not the first Mario Kart in our family, I was too young to really play Super Mario Kart when it was new, and by the time I could really grasp the concept of what gaming is, it was the Nintendo 64 era. But man, I absolutely loved that era. I was always so excited when my dad got a new game in the bright colored box, and I would flip through the instruction manual and look at all the art and pictures, and we'd all huddle around in the living room to wait to watch my dad play the new game. Great family time. Now, when Mario Kart 64 first came out, my parents played it a lot together, and I remember it looked really intriguing. Like, I think Bowser's Castle was probably the most interesting level to me. The thwomps were both mesmerizing yet terrifying. And compared to some other games they had, it seemed more relatively simple in controls. Like, I don't have to kill anything, I just mainly have to go, drive, hit an item. I thought this is a good first game. This I can tackle. So I decided to ask my parents,
can I play Mario Kart 64?
And you know, they thought about it, and they said yes. Now, I have kind of a weird emotional memory, because I was probably about 4 or 5 when this happened, but I still remember this day. And I remember the excitement as the screen booted up, and you had the twirly Nintendo logo, and the "Welcome to Mario Kart." And pretty sure I either picked Toad or Yoshi as my character. We'll go with Yoshi for this video. I also remember I booted the first track, Luigi's Raceway. Now, I'm not sure if that's because I was like, let's just start with the first one, or if I couldn't quite figure out how to actually, choose any of the other options. And so if you just pressed A enough, you get there. But anyways, that nostalgic beep, 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 off I went. Well, I could kind of say off I went, but more my experience looked like this. Yeah, I didn't know how to drive. It was like 180 either to the left or to the right, and I couldn't figure out why I'm going in circles and not just making slight movements. But then even worse was that wall. Oh my goodness! I remember it to this day. Just hitting that wall and then being like, bump, 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 bump. Bump, 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 bump. And I could not, for the life of me, get out of it. I think my mom mentioned you press B to back up, and I did, so I went, bum, 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 bum. But you know what? If you kind of hold the control stick enough, and you keep sliding, eventually, you'll get past the wall and go into the tunnel and survive. So I finished the first lap, start the second lap, it's going maybe slightly better, but not by much. And then I hit the wall again. I don't know if I'm communicating this clearly, but it wasn't like I was mindlessly, hi, I'm stuck in a wall. I was frustrated. This game looks so simple. Why can't I do it? Why am I hitting the wall? Why can't I move? I can't do what I want to do. And my mom noticed that I was getting really frustrated. And she said, I think it's time you probably take a break. So yeah, the first time I ever played a video game, I played about a lap and a half of one track of Mario Kart 64 before I gave up in frustration, and my mom told me to turn it off. Now, my concept of time was practically non-existent at that age, but it felt like it took me 15 to 20 minutes to get that far. Maybe it wasn't actually that long, but yeah, it wasn't a really good experience. But thankfully, the story doesn't end there. Obviously, you're watching this channel. I've probably learned how to play a video game or two since then. As far as you know. In fact, the story doesn't even end with Mario Kart 64. I kept finding myself returning to this game, and each time I got just slowly, a little bit better. It allowed me to get comfortable with the controller and how things move and how they work, and it's really a great gateway game. One of my favorite things to do as a kid, which I know many of you enjoyed too, was to boot up Calamari Desert and just drive on the train tracks for just an inevitable amount of time. And occasionally that train would come and you'd spin out and you'd be like, whoa, because I drove with Toad. And yeah, it was very, very fun and entertaining and amusing. I actually really enjoyed taking my dear sweet time on almost like every track, trying to find out all the secrets and what was going on in the world. Like, I loved driving off the track to go visit Peach's castle. I loved finally figuring out how to line up that jump into the mountainside when you take up the large ramp with the mushroom. And I avoided Toad's Turnpike, like the plague, because let's face it, that track is evil. I also have a lot of memories with this game with friends and family. I can't tell you how many times I would pick up this game when people were over and just play for hours. I remember my dad playing battle mode with me once because I thought the level with all the towers was really cool. And he obviously was better than me and beat me, but there was once where I beat him and I was like, yes! I finally beat my father, the king of video games! But now looking back on it, I think my dad just stood up on one of the top of those towers and waited for me to come and get him. He let me win. But it was still my first victory. Another great thing about Mario Kart 64 is it is the game that broke the, stupid controller. Now what's the stupid controller, you may ask? Well, thanks for asking. No, it's, not the official title, but it is a third-party developed controller where they decided, hey, the prong in the center of the controller. Let's get rid of that. So it's just the two sides. And especially for me with, little child hands, this controller was the worst. I tried to play Mario 64 with it once and I couldn't get anywhere because my hands were like, I'm like, no, I need the regular controller because my child hands can't handle this. But thankfully, this controller didn't last long. My parents were playing Bowser's Castle one night, and my mom went to go throw an item, press the Z button, and the button got stuck and never came back out. My dad tried to fix it. It wouldn't fix. That controller was just dead. Z's gone. But it's hard to play a lot of Nintendo 64 games with just one controller, so my parents had to go out and buy this cool red one instead. But I think one of my favorite memories about this game was back when I was in 3rd grade. My parents went out on a date, and my cousin Chelsea was babysitting my brother and I. All 3 of us were playing Mario Kart 64, and because my brother was about, 4 at the time, he was like me when I was 4, and was no good at it. Although, I think he was slightly better than I was. He could at least avoid walls. Anyways, he was starting to get pretty frustrated and fed up, and was done with playing. But Chelsea and I were still staying fairly competitive, and I think the race that we were playing was Calamari Desert, and we were pretty neck and neck, but I was starting to get the lead. Oh, I was gonna win. I was gonna beat my older cousin. This was gonna be great. Just then, the garage door opened, the door to the garage opened, and my parents walked in. My brother, who had decided to give up, said, "Oh, look, a puppy!" Yeah, nice try, brother. I'm winning, you're not gonna distract me. That's like a kindergartner saying that there's an alligator on your head. I ain't gonna believe that. My parents have never talked about getting a dog. The finish line was so close. I'm there. I got it! I won! Right then, my cousin Chelsea also turns to look at my parents and says, "Oh my goodness, they got a dog." Wait, what? If Chelsea said something, then... And there she was. At first, my eyes felt deceived. Clearly this isn't a real dog. No, it's a real dog. It was a 2-month little silky terrier. Cute as a button. Oh my goodness! I have a dog! And because we're really creative with names, we named our silky terrier Silky. But like S-I-L-K-I-E, because it's cuter. We had that lovely pup for 16 and a half years. She actually just passed away on May 22nd this year. I actually started writing the scripts for this video before that happened and felt like I needed to put it on hold. But now I wanted to share it because in a way too, it's kind of in memoriam of my precious puppy, and I associate Mario Kart 64 with her because I was playing Mario Kart 64 and would not listen to my brother when he was right. But in happier, non-gaming related news, a month before Silky passed, I got this little pup. His name is Edmund, and he's the pup with the controller. Say hi, Edmund! Look at the camera! Yeah! Good boy! Expect to see this little bugger in videos from time to time. Anyways, those are some of the stories of Mario Kart 64. And now, I want to hear from you. What was your first ever video game? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you fail like I did? Do you still play it to this day? Does it hold up? Does it not? I love this kind of stuff, so leave it in the comments. This has been the girl with the controller, and I hope you have a lovely day.